What's up, y'all? We're back again with another video, and today we're going to be talking about the senior in Florida that unwillingly signed over their home for $10. Now, I'm going to go ahead and play the news report so that you guys have some context, and then we're going to also play a small clip from the Millionaire Morning Show, which is a show by Anton Daniels that he was actually able to bring up Carlton, which is the person who purchased the home from a wholesaler, to kind of give us some insight on how this deal actually, happened. There's some of the information is being twisted and turned from the news aspect, and so it's just awesome to have this clip from Anton Daniels so that you guys can see the full picture. So we're going to go ahead and play the clip from the news report, and then we're going to get into the commentary after. So you guys sit tight. And yeah, we're going to get into it.
It doesn't have to be as complicated as you think. You can actually transfer ownership just by signing a special deed and having it notarized.
People usually do that in cases of divorce or giving a home to their relatives, but beware of potential scams to cheat you. Investigative reporter Terry Parker here to explain how the same process can make you vulnerable to unknowingly signing away your home. Terry?
Todd and Felicia, that's what a senior homeowner in Ft.Pierce says happened to him, according to court documents. He signed away his home for $10. Now he's being evicted and has no place to go. I looked into his story to see how it happened and to show you what you need to be careful of.
Claude Fry is selling his mother's trinkets in his driveway, hoping to make a little cash.
So you consider this your home?
Yes.
After 23 years of living here, Fry is being evicted because somehow Fry signed over the deed to his house for a mere $10, a house that just sold to a third buyer for $185,000.
Like I said, everybody's just been taking advantage of me because I'm just that kind of nice guy,
Neighbor Vince Erico says when he found out Fry was being evicted, he looked up the property records.
There's definitely something wrong there. And he gets nothing. I think he got $1,500.
In 2020, Fry's mom died, and he says he got behind in the mortgage.
I would have never probably got behind so bad if it wasn't for my mom dying and me being the only one here. And I took it really hard.
The bank foreclosed, and Fry asked a man he knew for help. He says in 2021, Thomas Brinson promised to take over the mortgage payments. So Fry signed a deed transferring the property to Brinson for $10. And Brinson would let Fry live in his house. But later, court filings would say that Fry didn't realize what he was signing.
Once I signed paper, and I didn't realize that gave him the right to sell it and evict me.
Brinson says the house and Fry were a headache, too much stress and money. So 6 months later, Brinson signed the house over to Carlton Danville, a real estate investor. Danville won't say how much he paid Brinson. This recorded deed shows a payment of $10 and other good and valuable consideration. Then, in December 2022, Danville flipped the house, selling it for $185,000 to a New York-based LLC, according to county records. When Fry hadn't vacated by January 25th, the new owner filed for eviction. Fry's neighbor, Erica, responded to the eviction complaint on Fry's behalf. He wrote to the court that Fry is a mentally disabled senior citizen who had been coerced into quit claiming his home, adding that Fry was lied to about the paperwork for the deed transfer and really had no idea he was signing away his home. Erica's court filing does not specify the persons responsible for this alleged coercion and lying.
So he could have at least put the house up for sale, priced it cheap, and at least got something. Now he's got nothing.
The man who purchased the home from Brinson and made a big profit on Fry's house, Carlton Danville, says he did nothing wrong.
It might seem a little murky, but that's the nature of our business.
Danville says if he hadn't come along, the bank would have foreclosed on Brinson and evicted Fry anyway. After purchasing the property from Brinson, Danville gave Fry $1,500 on January 1st to turn over the keys, with another $1,500 if Fry vacated the house by January 18th, which Fry did not do.
But ethically,
Yes.
are you doing the right thing, Carlton?
Ethically, I'm 100% clear because, again, I never coerced Mr. Fry. I never swindled him, never forced him. He wasn't incoherent when he signed the deed over to whoever.
Last month, the court ordered that Fry's eviction may move forward, finding there was no evidence of wrongdoing. Danville says Fry should have consulted a lawyer.
But the crucial mistake, the unwise, bad decision that Claude made in 2021, he signed it away.
And now Fry has some advice.
Don't sign anything until you're sure or have a lawyer look into it. I didn't have a lawyer, he did.
So a quit claim deed is a form that you can fill out that just kind of simplifies the process of transferring ownership or the right to a property to someone else. And a lot of people do this whether, they're gifting a property to a family member, if they were recently divorced and is giving the house to a spouse. This is just a simple way of transferring ownership to another person, to another entity. And a lot of people use this in real estate investing, when they come across someone that's behind on their mortgage payments like this guy was, and kind of just transfer the property over to them, for the investment purposes. So before we play the clip from Anton Daniels' channel, I just want to say that I have a friend that is in this business as a wholesaler. And he told me about a time when he pretty much was able to gain control over property after just having lunch with the owner. And the owner was, pre-foreclosure, going through a hard time, falling behind on mortgage payments. And the best option at the time was signing the property over to someone else that could catch up where they left off, on the monthly payments, and kind of give them that leeway to, fix whatever issues that they're having, get back on their feet without having to deal with the consequences of going through the foreclosure process. So I don't want people to, make it seem as if, these type of real estate transactions are unethical or predatory. There's a lot of people that benefit from these type of transactions. And now, if you guys listened in the news report, the owner said that, his mom passed away, he fell behind on the mortgage payments and was pre-foreclosure. Now, he was going to lose the house anyway. These investors came in, initially giving him the opportunity to take $8,000. He did not want to take it, allegedly. This was mentioned in the video that Anton Daniels did with the owner, not the owner, but the wholesaler who purchased the property. And then after that was refused, they later offered him $3,000 total to turn in the keys and to vacate the property by a set time. Now, you're being given money up front, whether you use that to go to get an apartment, gives you some time to get back on your feet. This is still a very lucrative way to get back on your feet without having to deal with the consequences of going through a foreclosure. So I'm making this video, and I'm making this very clear because there's a lot of people that benefit from these quit claim deeds. So we're gonna go ahead and get into the video with the wholesaler kind of giving us some back information, kind of clearing his name in a way, because the news kind of made him seem as if he's just unethical person that robbed this, mentally ill guy blind.
On this story for about 20 seconds. I literally, when we met, I talked for 5 minutes. They aired none of my side of the story. So the quit claim deed that he signed with the first investor, the attorney of record went on record with the news and said Claude was not incoherent, he wasn't coerced, he was in his right state of mind, everything was 100% legitimate. He came down to the attorney's office and signed the deed over to the first investor. That was in 2021. How do I have now? He's legally just a holdover tenant. I'll handle him. So that's where you get the $1,500 from at the end. I was giving him cash for keys, a term in the real estate investment world. Cash for keys.
You actually was looking out for.
Come on, man, and check this out. The first night I met with Claude, I said, Claude, we're gonna get a date together to get you out, because you've had this pending foreclosure for almost 6 months now. And I came and I paid off the debt. We satisfied the bank. So I'm gonna still give you some time. I'm gonna work with you. I offer him $5,000. I had $5,000 in my pocket right there.
You came along and from a wholesaling perspective, interacting with the investor, and you never even interacted with Claude in the first place.
No, the only time I interacted with Claude is when I found out that the investor actually owned the house, because we had to go through the probate to make probate documents to make sure Claude actually signed it over 100%, because his ownership, he had an inheritance. It wasn't his house, it was his mom's house. So we had to verify he did have 100% ownership. Once that was verified, the other investor said, I'm ready to let it go. Claude is a headache. He don't listen. He had other legal things going on. He needed some cash, and the house was about to get auctioned for the second time. So we
So
was
the
looking at the
investor
clock.
was losing a house.
He was going to lose the house and get nothing.
And so that's when you came in and you said, all right,
Yep,
cool.
this is how I met Claude. I met Claude the day that the
Claude is the guy
investor
that ain't had no
walked.
teeth in the thing, right?
Yeah, Claude is the guy with no teeth. So I met Claude the day I met the investor at the house to walk the property to assess the repairs. That's the day I met Claude.
So Claude had already did a deal
He had did a deal a year and a half ago.
before you even came into the picture.
There you go. So I had
So who was
nothing to
the
do with a
so who was the
so-called
so the
$10
investor is the
transaction.
person that got it for $10 or that basically got it for
Yes.
$10 then.
And see, that needs to be stated too. He didn't get it for $10. He got it from Claude. I don't know what the agreement was. He told me the story. I don't know if it's true or not, but they had an agreement. He let Claude live there for free. I have to throw out this fact. The reason why he reached out to this investor is because he was abusing drugs. And this is what happens on the regular. He
Mm,
needed money to save his home from foreclosure. And that's what that investor did. So you can say it was he took over the mortgage payments, but it wasn't a traditional subject to. He just kind of did it organically because Claude was in a jam and was about to get evicted in 2020. I'm just gonna say all the legal facts because my attorney is working on this as we currently speak. We going after the news reporter, and it's a bunch of gurus on Instagram and on YouTube putting out the story 100% false, saying I stole the house for $10. All right, let's start with some facts that they totally left out.
mm,
When Mr. Fry was evicted, he did not own the home.
mm.
That's fact number one. Fact number two, I didn't do any legal dealings or transaction with Mr. Fry. I purchased the house from another investor.
So there you guys have it. You have Carlton giving his side of the story, which to me makes a lot more sense. You know, here you have a guy that's going through the foreclosure process, behind on their monthly payments, about to lose their house. And someone comes along and says, hey, you know, sign the property over to us. We're going to catch up on the payments. You won't have to worry about going through, you know, this long stretched out process. It makes a lot of sense. You know, I don't see how he can be a victim in this scenario. You have someone offering you $3,000 to go and do whatever. You know, most people would go and find a place to live, you know, get a job, get back on their feet, and now they have an opportunity to maybe a year from now, 2 years from now, when things is more, you know, settle again, to potentially try to buy if that's something that they would want to do. If you had a foreclosure recently on your record, that's not happening anytime soon. So this is still a lucrative way for people to get out of a, you know, bad real estate deal, a bad real estate transaction, or if they're just facing financial hardship. So I still feel as if this guy is not a victim. I don't think that he was robbed blindly, even though the news is trying to push this narrative. And so, yeah, I want you guys to leave your comments in the, you know, below, as I normally ask. This is a channel where I want us to interact with one another. So yeah, please subscribe, comment, share, like this video, and yeah, tune in for the next one.